So my name's Zizo, I'm from the Anti-Gallery, and I've been co-leading the Collective Voice workshops here at Nottingham Contemporary.
Hi, I'm Cindy Sissoko and I'm co-leading the Anti-Gallery workshop project with Saziso Firi. We're working with a group of 20 people, 20 people from completely different backgrounds and ages as well, to create a piece on the subjects explored within the exhibition The Places Here, which is about artists from the Black Arts movement. The participants are creating different artworks that will be exhibited in a project space. So this space is being completely renovated in order to allow different projects to happen every month of the year.
So a lot of the themes addressed in the exhibition are quite sensitive themes, and so I think it's important for people to take that time to look at the themes, to look at what's being discussed and see how they can relate that to themselves and how they can, you know, make a piece of artwork that is inspired by the exhibition. And it has worked out well in the sense that we've had people, you know, really look into the theme, spend quite a bit of time looking at the artwork and learning about the artists as well, and that's helped inspire their own work, but also kind of looking at their own experiences and the experiences of those who they know. So we have someone who's creating work based on the experiences of a friend who was a refugee.
And the piece of work we're working on is actually telling the story of one of my best friends who came over as a refugee and really struggled to integrate into that school system. And we want to try and raise awareness and try to encourage people to think not only to let refugees into our country, to give them the salvage from their previous lives, but to actually make sure that while they're here, their quality of life is still really good.
There's also people who are looking at experiences within their own families, people who are looking at what's going on in the media, political and social issues, contemporary issues as well.
I've decided to create a three-piece. One of them saying, you have to be better to be equal, which is something that my granddad from Bangladesh used to tell my dad when he was younger, when they moved to England, which basically means you have to accept that you're inferior. And I feel like my dad never really knew what that meant, because he told me and my brother when we suffered from a kind of racism at school in Spain, he used to tell us, remember what Dad has said, you have to be better to be equal, with a sense of pride. And kind of growing up, that made me realise that he didn't really understand what that meant, because basically my dad and my granddad was telling him, you're less than them, so you have to be better to be equal. So I'm using that phrase to sort of create the whole thing. And then there's a girl in the middle of the three-piece with a question mark on her forehead, which I feel everyone should wear. Not only because we're in doubt all the time, but also because we should question everything. Question the treatment that we receive, question the treatment that we give, question everything, basically. So I thought that was quite fitting. I mean, I draw question marks on people's foreheads all the time, but I thought it was quite fitting for this one. And then underneath that, I'm going to say, why? In a bit of like a graffiti style, why? Which she is saying basically, why do I have to be better to be equal? And basically, yeah, just questioning that, which is what I've questioned all my life as well.
After seeing the exhibition, I've decided to do something around like skeletons because of the X-ray piece upstairs, and I just kind of got the idea, just kind of looking underneath the skin and showing that despite what race you are and what kind of person you are, essentially we're all the same underneath. So kind of looking at different races, and I've decided to make like a stop motion animation using plasticine. So I'm going to create like different characters and use a record player to spin them around, like a shoulder and head shot, and just create different marginalised communities and characters and morph them into each other whilst they're spinning around on this record player. And then at the end just kind of show that we are basically essentially the same, stripping the flesh back to basically a skeleton kind of model, and possibly have kind of words and stuff and stuff flying in using plasticine. So I'm going to composite all that hopefully on After Effects and use different effects to achieve that hopefully. Being able to play more, I guess, with my art. So I didn't really get much of a chance to do stuff that's come like that I've thought about myself in a way, like doing commissions and stuff is usually you've got the clients to think about and stuff, so it's nice to do something a bit different and for myself and just experiment with different materials as well and have the opportunity to do that is really nice.
Well, I've done it basically, my piece is, starts off with a wall, because society, when you're marginalised, everyone is a wall, walling you out, keeping you out. There's a door, but the doors are always closed for your homeless. And basically I've got a weed because I'm basically like the weed. I don't fit in. I'm a flower in the wrong place. I don't bloom anywhere else. I can't thrive and grow because society won't let me in that wall. Well, that people are more open-minded and people are more accepting of other people and just a bit more kindness in the world. You know, like a bit more hand helping rather than shutting doors and closing walls and building walls higher and higher and higher. Instead of that, I want people to just break down them walls, break down them barriers and let people in. Yeah? Let people in, no matter what the circumstances are, let them in, because we've all got something to share, we've all got something individual to bring to a collective.
So what I've decided to create, it's quite graphical. I want to create some pieces on paper with ink and pen and pencils, and they're around the themes of kind of repetition and trying to distinguish a message, and also to see like using words over and over and over that to kind of illustrate the point of things within kind of society are kind of not changing on certain topics of racism and discrimination, and trying to layer these words up almost to create something that's so complicated that it's kind of hard to distinguish. I think it's just, yeah, self-education and discovering more about the exhibition itself and then being a part of it, and yeah, meeting new people, hearing different people's perspectives. I work in quite a small industry and it's very interesting, like meeting different people with different views and yeah, exploring new sort of topics that are going on in society today and trying to kind of respond to some of the things that I'm kind of worried about that's happening in the media and that's happening in society, and trying to tackle some of those in a small way, really.
The truth is, I'm not really sure what happened.
If you came to groove, there's no reason to prove. And now you've got yourself something funky.
We hope that through the exhibition, the participants would have gained confidence and experience in creating their own artworks, but just the acknowledgement that they can be artists, they can create something that reflects what they're passionate about. It's quite nice to have people who may not necessarily have artistic experience being part of this, but it's really nice having people who have artistic experience being part of this, because they've been able to kind of act as mentors towards those who need a little hand, and that's been the great thing. It's a really nice family, community vibe along. That's probably one of my favourite things about this project, just how everyone's gotten along so well and how well everyone's working together. And I think art is a great tool for education, to educate people on some of the issues that, some of the things that other people are going through, on certain topics that they may not be so familiar with. But just seeing things from other people's perspective as well, I think that's really important. So I'm hoping that the public will gain just as much from the exhibition and the artwork as much as the members of the group as well. So it definitely worked out well, doing a 4-week art making course and having a longer exhibition, which means more people will get to see it and get to engage with the artwork as well.